In the eyes of many fans, the version of the Joker seen in Batman the Animated Series is the definitive Joker, placed on a pedestal above all other versions, yes, even Heath Ledger, Jack Nicholson, and Cesar Romero. This Joker benefits from the sublime performance of Mark Hamill and the masterful writing of Paul Dini, who wrote most of his appearances. But fans will debate which Joker episode is the creme de la creme. I made the argument for Joker's favour as the best Joker episode a while back, which stirred up some spirited debate. To hear my full argument, you can add that video to your watch later list. I've linked to it in the info button in the top right corner and shared a link in this video's description. In short, it was the pettiness and maliciousness of Joker's scheme, and how he brought an everyday man into his insane world, that I felt elevated it above all others. It also introduced the world to Harley Quinn, which I think earns it some bonus points. But not everyone agreed with me. Many people stated their case for other Joker episodes, but in my eyes, there's really only one other contender for the crown, and that's The Laughing Fish. Several people quite passionately articulated why they loved this episode above all other Joker episodes, and I can completely see where they're coming from. It is a wonderful example of everything that makes the Joker one of Batman's greatest foes. It has pedigree, style, an incredible score, and an absurd yet terrifying scheme that makes it one of the tensest episodes in the entire series. As someone that is very into the Batman comic books, I can appreciate how The Laughing Fish was built on the foundation of some of the greatest Joker stories ever told. The episode adapts elements of three classic Batman comics: 1973's Batman number 251, The Joker's Five-Way Revenge by Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams, as well as a two-part story published in Detective Comics 475 and 476, The Laughing Fish and Sign of the Joker by Steve Englehart and Marshall Rogers, published in 1978. These comics cemented the modern interpretation of the Joker, a brutal, chaotic force of nature who kills with a smile, a perfect blend of dark humour and genuine menace. It's important to remember that while Joker was originally a sadistic mass murderer when he was first introduced, over time he was softened to the point that he became a bit of a joke. Forgive the pun. In an effort to distinguish themselves from the bright and colourful antics of the 1960s Adam West TV series, Denny O'Neil reintroduced the Joker in The Joker's Five-Way Revenge, where a recently escaped Joker tracks down his former henchman who he believed had ratted him out. Joker was mostly successful in his mission, taking out most of his targets. 2 with his returning lethal Joker venom, another with an exploding cigar, and a 4th is hanged by the neck. The 5th henchman, now an elderly man in a wheelchair, is kidnapped. The most relevant segment of this story as it relates to BTAS is the finale, where Batman tracks the Joker to his hideout, the aquarium, and discovers Joker threatening to feed the remaining henchmen to a shark unless Batman offers himself up instead. Of course Batman does, and Joker throws both men into the tank. That scene will feel very familiar to viewers of the episode, except in that case it was Detective Harvey Bullock whose life was in danger. As for the other 2 issues, the episode borrows the main plot where Joker poisons all of Gotham's fish with his Joker venom to give them his trademark grin, as well as a few key scenes, specifically the Joker's attacks on the bureaucrats that are unable to grant him copyright of the ghastly poisoned Joker fish. By drawing on these stories, The Laughing Fish carries a level of pedigree that few other episodes can claim. And then there's the episode's tone. Batman the Animated Series always had a noir sensibility, but The Laughing Fish leans even further into suspense. The entire episode is drenched in shadows, oppressive lighting, and an eerie atmosphere that really underlines how dangerous the Joker actually is. There's a grim inevitability to the Joker's actions. People are doomed the moment they get in his way, even though he always makes it seem like they will survive if they just do what he says. While the comics explicitly showed Joker's targets being killed by the Joker venom, I'd argue that the animated version is far more horrific. True, both men survive the attacks, but when we see the state that they're in, with their hysterical laughter and eyeballs bulging out of their eye sockets, it's a fate worse than death. Yes, these scenes originate in the comic books, but seeing the attack and hearing the performances and the music elevates it above the source material. Speaking of sound, Shirley Walker's score is another reason this episode stands above the rest. Walker was instrumental in giving Batman the Animated Series its cinematic quality, and her work in The Laughing Fish is some of her best. Every episode that she personally scored has a wonderful soundtrack, and really there isn't a bad score in the entire series, even if not every episode is all that hot. I really wish I possessed the ability to properly articulate why her music is so wonderful, but I'm not a music critic. I just don't have the language skills to do her work justice. The score makes heavy use of the piano, and possibly a clarinet, with discordant and abrupt notes that are really unsettling. They perfectly illustrate the Joker's menacing mania, and provide an undercurrent of danger, making all of his attacks feel that much more frightening. It's the perfect complement to Mark Hamill's performance, which is arguably at its best here. Hamill had already made the Joker his own by this point in the series, but the laughing fish lets him fully embrace the character's theatricality, humour and cruelty all at once, showcasing his versatility. The perfect demonstration of this is the scene where he asks G. Carl Francis to accept his copyright application. Initially he's amicable and quite charming, but when things don't go his way he's incredulous before issuing a threat. That brings me to the sheer absurdity of the Joker's plan. The idea that he could trademark fish just because they look like him is so ridiculous that even Gotham's legal system won't humour him. And yet, that's exactly what makes him so terrifying. The Joker doesn't care about logic or reason. He wants the world to bend to his madness, and when it doesn't, he lashes out in unpredictable, deadly ways. That's what makes him such a strong villain. He's funny until he isn't, and then it's already too late. I really like how the Joker always gives his victims the illusion of choice, that they could somehow survive this encounter, when in reality they were doomed the moment he laid eyes on them. Now, I don't want to suggest that this episode is a lazy mishmash of 3 comic book stories, or that it's the association with the classic comic book stories that makes this a great episode. It's not at all. There is an art to adaptation, of knowing what to keep, what to remove, and what to add. I think that the most significant addition to this episode is Harley Quinn, who, let's not forget, wasn't in the original comic book stories because she didn't exist back then. She was an original creation for Batman the Animated Series, but she seamlessly integrates into this story. I've talked at length about how evil Joker is and how ultimately he doesn't care about anyone else. Not even defeating Batman is that important to him. And this episode shows us how he treats his beloved henchwench Harley Quinn. Harley is vocal about how she doesn't like fish, but Joker forces her to eat some of his Joker fish on a televised broadcast, showing the power he has over her and how little he cares about her feelings of discomfort. The fact that he broadcast that humiliation to the entire world adds another layer of cruelty. There's humour to be found in this as well, where Joker offers Harley a mermaid costume, but it's inverted with the upper body being the fish part. While we can't see Harley's face, the late Arlene Sorkin conveys her distaste through her performance. That's not the only improvement. The original comic books saw the Joker being defeated after he slipped on an oil spill, and when he was struck by lightning. I can see the random humour in those endings, but they never really felt all that satisfying to me. Dini's ending is far superior, where the Joker attempts to escape after Batman smashes out of the shark tank, and brains himself on the way out. There's a dramatic battle atop the aquarium, complete with a thunderstorm, as there always seems to be in Gotham, and the Joker attempts to escape by diving into the sea. However, the escaped shark's jaws lie in wait for him in the frigid waters of the Atlantic Ocean. Obviously, the Joker survived this encounter, despite what Hollywood says sharks generally aren't that interested in eating humans. But the ending evoked classic comic book stories, where it seemed like the villain may have met their maker. The final shot of the Joker playing card, marked with Harley's lipstick kiss, floating in the sea, is a great shot to end the episode on. So, yeah, I absolutely can see why so many people think that this is the best Joker episode of Batman the Animated Series. At its core, The Laughing Fish isn't just a great Joker story, it's one of the definitive episodes of Batman the Animated Series, showcasing everything that the series was about. Similarly, it captures Joker's unpredictability, his dark sense of humour, and his utter disregard for human life. It's stylish, atmospheric, and brilliantly acted, with one of the best scores in the entire series. I still prefer Joker's favour, but ultimately it all comes down to a matter of taste, and really, when comparing the two, we're just splitting hairs. They are both wonderful episodes that are fine examples of what makes Batman the Animated Series such a wonderful, timeless show. Okay, that's it for this week's essay. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, tell all your friends about me. You know how YouTube works. If you really enjoyed the video and have the means, please consider making use of the thanks button to send a buck or two my way, because every little helps. I offer channel memberships for $1.99 a month. This will get you early access to my weekly video essay, priority responses to your comments, members-only videos, custom emojis, and an icon on your profile indicating that you're one of my people. And special thanks to my channel members. Everyone who was a member at the time of this video's creation is listed on the screen right now. If you want to see your name amongst all these wonderful people, join the channel now. Next time, I'll be returning to the world of Creature Commandos on Monday to talk about Nina Mazursky, the sad little girl that only wanted to make friends. And then on Friday, it'll be time to talk about the winner of my most recent Batman Beyond villain poll, Starro, and how he unexpectedly introduced the DC animated universe to the Justice League. Hope to see you then.